Wait a second. Whew!
Yeah, current events, schmurrent events.
Oh, this
Who
was a
cares?
welcome
We're
distraction.
not. Yeah,
from the
we would
current
never
events.
talk about some virus. We don't want to talk about anything beyond 1989.
No, if it didn't happen in the 80s, it didn't
31st,
happen.
1989. That's the end. Nothing beyond that.
Nothing there that brings me any sense of joy. All right. Oh.
Okay, first,
Yeah.
I have a few things to say before we start recording.
All right. Well, we are recording, but you mean before we start
Oh,
really?
Yeah, before we get into it. Oh, yeah, this is a Patreon thing. So everybody's getting the edited, it's not edited. The end.
I mean, you're not editing.
I don't know what I'm saying.
There we go.
But anyway, I did not take notes for the first half hour of this.
What? Because you were so enthralled with how freaking entertaining it was.
I don't know why. Listen, we've been doing this podcast for about 5 years. And today I sat down and I was like, you know what? While I have lunch, I'm going to put Who's Harry Crumb on. Not once did I think I need to take notes for this. No, just sat there eating a sandwich watching this. And about a half hour in, I was like, oh, wait, that's how we do this. I take notes. So I might be a little sketchy on the details when he's in, I don't know, Omaha, Nebraska. I don't know. But for the first part of this movie, I did not take notes. And my notes are very light, let's say. There was a lot happening. It was a little tough to look down and take notes and also pay attention to what was going on.
You were overwhelmed by Harry Crumb.
I was a little overwhelmed.
Okay. Well, good to know. Good to know here your gauge.
The coronavirus has me overwhelmed.
I guess so. Well, like I said, for me, this was a welcome distraction from all of the nonsense of the world.
I know this movie made the rounds on HBO. I know I've seen it. I know I watched it as a kid multiple times because there were scenes, like entire scenes where I was like, oh, I remember this whole thing.
Like when he's in the air conditioning?
When he was in the air conditioning, of course, yes.
Yeah.
When he drops his chest hair? Why was that part of the disguise?
And then puts it on
his face. And the woman's like, you look different somehow. She had no idea that he had no beard.
And then he's like, maybe your eyes are playing tricks on me.
Tricks on me. And then he laughs at his own joke. Oh, tricks on me. That's a good one. There's so many questions I have about this movie. First of all, this has to be the horniest John Candy movie ever, right? Like,
well, but he's not horny in it. Annie Potts is the horny one.
Well, right, yes, but this is something where I was watching this going, I remember this. I remember because
it does. Even the opening is sexy.
Yeah, right, but the whole movie's weirdly sexy, and like many of our listeners out there, no, I'm serious. Many of our listeners out there, just like me, probably know Annie Potts from Ghostbusters and Designing Women. Yep. And even when I was at the age of, 13, 14 watching this, I was like, I don't want to see Annie Potts in a bra. Like, I don't like this. This makes me uncomfortable.
Yeah.
And all the mud play, it was so gross. I didn't like their hands are in that mud. I thought he was going to eat it at one point. It was really gross.
Well, it does look like pudding. It kind of looks like chocolate pudding. Which makes you kind of want to have him eat it.
I don't like it. No.
You didn't want it. You didn't want it to be a part of, all right. You know what? That's fine. That's okay. But it wasn't.
Yeah.
So you got Annie Potts in a bra at one point.
Yeah.
But she's got, what's his name? She's got the principal from Ferris Bueller on top of her. So really, it negates any sexy scene that.
Well, right. I mean,
And then And then
what was this movie going for? Was this movie going? I don't know.
Just who is Harry Crumb?
This movie confused me, much like all the characters just saying who's Harry. I like how Jeffrey Jones has the titular, or somebody has the who's Harry Crumb line. It's like the third line in this movie.
Yeah. It's the father. What's his name? That actor that plays the father of the kidnapped daughter.
Yeah, I don't know the guy's name. I didn't look it up. This movie is wall to wall people we've seen in this podcast before.
Oh yeah.
When Shawnee Smith showed up, and I was oh yeah, from
summer school. She was the pregnant one in summer school. Yeah.
And I was really confused with this movie too, because when he first meets her, I was like, is she playing like a 14-year-old? And later when they're in the car with no brakes, I'm like, she looks like she's 28.
Oh, and then at the very end, when they're all getting ready to go to Hawaii and her hair's all bouffant style, and I'm like, where'd she go?
Yes. It was like, was this shot months later? And they were like, you gotta come back. We got to get some reshoots. You're going to Hawaii for some reason.
We're going to tease
Tell
your
John
hair
Candy
out.
He'll look good in a grass skirt. The audience will love it.
It'll be a hit, a hoot even.
Oh, man. Tim Thomerson's back. I enjoyed seeing Tim Thomerson from Rhinestone fame.
Oh, yes.
Cherry 2000 bad guy. Oh, I did not like this.
You didn't?
No, I did not. I remember not liking this as a kid. Like, it was on all the time, and I watched it many times. And even as a kid, I didn't like it. And I thought, well, maybe now I will. Maybe as a kid, I just didn't get the highbrow humor.
There was no highbrow humor. Well, that's no wonder, because we had talked before about what movie we're going to do. This is our April Fool's movie.
Yes.
So it was a Saturday Night Live alumni movie that we decided to choose. Right. And there's a wide array.
Oh, so many
to choose from. And I think last time we were disappointed. Both of us were disappointed by Haunted Honeymoon.
This isn't as bad as Haunted Honeymoon. I'll say good. That. I mean,
okay.
It's tough to be that disappointed.
I feel well. I don't feel badly enough because I did enjoy it both times over. But I feel bad because
both times. Wait.
Well, like
did you watch
I enjoyed
this twice?
Oh no, but I'm gonna watch it again because I told my husband, "Holy shit, you got to watch this with me. It's so freaking hilarious."
When you get out of quarantine, we're going to check this thing out.
I said this is your cure for quarantine. This is going to help you see the light. When you see all the multiple characters that he plays, when he's dressed as a jockey and goes inside that telephone booth.
Well, that I was freaking out when I saw it. I was like, this is what I wanted in Hot to Trot. This is what I wanted. I wanted him to ride the horse, and I wanted Bobcat to voice the horse. Because how would you not do that?
Yeah. I know. I thought about him that way.
Oh my God.
When we saw him in
his costumes are wild. Like every time we put on a costume, I'm like, this seems unnecessary.
I know it is unnecessary, but that's what makes it so freaking awesome. That's what makes it so awesome. Like, why is he that air conditioning guy? Why is he dressed like an Indian man to do the air conditioning?
There's no reason. There's no reason for any of this. I love how they almost set up for a sequel at the end that never happened.
Oh
that
yeah,
which I
would have loved to see. Me too. Bottoms up, the murder mystery.
Yeah.
Yes.
By the end, I was not having fun with this movie, and I went, I'd watch another one. I'd watch Who's Harry Crumb too.
See, I think. As a kid, because this was one of those, but I love John Candy. I enjoyed his silliness.
Yeah.
I was a fan of Hot to Trot, as we know. Was a Hot to Trot a birthday pick for me? I couldn't remember if it was a birthday pick or if it was just I
think we just did it. I think I was like, Jamie's going to pick this at some point. Let's just put it on
there. But this, I used to quote this movie from time to time.
You would quote...
You
Who's
did.
Harry Crumb? What did you quote? Did you say, she's not only a kidnapper, Mom, but she's a slut? Is that what you used to quote? Because that was a bizarre line that I never thought I'd hear John Candy say.
No, when he looks at the giant picture of her head hanging up on the wall, and he's like, well, she's not going to be hard to find. Look at how big her head is.
She must be enormous. There were times... Here's my main question to you, because you seem to be more of an expert in this film than I am. Is John Candy just a really great detective who acts stupid?
Oh,
Or
no,
is he
he's
really
stupid.
dumb and stumbles?
Yeah.
Because when he would make jokes like that about how big her head is, I was like, well, this is just a joke. Like, he's just doing this so Shawnee Smith will laugh, right? Like, he doesn't believe that she's on the hunt for a giant, right? No, he doesn't.
That's the best part. That's the best part is that he's this innocent. He thinks that people are going to believe he's a horse jockey when he's like a 300-pound man trying to squeeze into a telephone booth.
Also, what was the
Come
point of
on.
that? It seemed as though he could have just, Jeffrey Jones just wanders in, not dressed as a jockey.
No, and there was no need. They were just exchanging money at the.
Yeah, all he had to do was answer
Yeah.
a phone.
But it was great that he got stuck in there.
I
and
love how
then-
they have their own tiny phone booths too. And when
Yeah.
he picks up the phone, even the receiver's small.
And when he's like, "Kidnapper, you speak up! I can't hear you, kidnapper. Quit talking so low." Oh, I laughed out loud throughout this movie.
There were a few times I laughed out loud. You know what I really liked about this movie is that a good portion of this movie is just him trying to improve Shawnee Smith's self-esteem, which I was like, this is such an adorable relationship that they have.
It is very sweet.
He's like, yeah,
It is
your
very-
sister's pretty, but yeah, you know what? You got some pretty great qualities yourself.
Yeah.
Like, it was really nice. And the fact that at the end, the dad's like, thanks for getting my daughter back to me. Both of my
of them.
daughters. I'm like, what? What are you talking about?
And I like how that one, the kidnapped one, Jennifer, I think is her name,
Yes.
her character's name. We really only see her as like there's no real. Every now and then she's almost getting prodded with an electric cow prodder. Is that what?
Yeah,
that, is
that got
crazy
dark.
guy?
When we would see that guy just electrocuting metal things around, that slimy guy. And you're right, Jennifer doesn't get a line until the end of this movie, I think.
No. And I think that's even like, sure, I'll talk to the cops. Thanks, Harry.
Thanks for saving me. Okay.
Oh.
All right. Well, and I do get this movie confused with. Do you remember the movie where John Candy's like a writer and he writes things that then actually end up happening? I think it's called Delirious.
Oh yeah, you
Remember
talked about that before.
Oh, okay. All right, so it's just me that gets these two movies confused. I think they
Yeah,
were made around
yeah.
the same time, and I think they were both on HBO, maybe 2 different summers, but one year after the next. So, all right, so it doesn't confuse you. You know who's Harry Crumb,
No, I'm getting to know.
and you really remember you had fond memories of this as a child. I had
did.
uncomfortable memories. Wow.
You are uncomfortable around
Yeah,
it. Wow.
I was. I don't. Maybe this was like a movie that I watched with my parents where I was like, "Oh no, this is uncomfortable." There's too many.
Okay.
There's too many sexy situations. Are we supposed to think that's pubic hair? Like, I don't know. And there was probably things like that. I was like, I don't like watching this. I don't like. Oh no, it's on again. I don't know if I can take it
Okay.
anymore. I don't know, but it does start. This movie opens with, again, like a woman getting undressed against like a curtain, like a silhouetted undressing, like the beginning of a James Bond movie.
Yeah, and it's got some sultry, sexy music playing,
Yeah.
and you're like, "Who is Harry Crumb? What is happening right
Is
now?"
this Harry
Yeah.
Crumb? Because if it is, I'm into this.
Harry Crumb After Dark. Hello.
But we soon see that Harry Crumb, for some reason, is dressed as Don King. Why is he dressed like Don King? What is this? Don King as a window washer. It makes no sense at all.
So he is. So first we get to kind of see the behind the scenes of a kidnapping that we're going to get to know a little more deeply. We see
Yeah.
the silhouetted woman. Turns out she's getting naked because she's getting ready for like a mud bath massage of some kind of exfoliation treatment, I guess I'll say, where she's covered in mud.
Yeah.
But during that, she her what do you call them? Estheticians. like the people that cover you in mud when you're at the spa.
I wouldn't even know there's a name for that. I would just think
All right.
spa employee.
All right, the spa employee
No,
gets
no,
chloroformed.
your made up word was much better.
Oh, thank you.
I'm sure it's a real word. Do you have a word of the day calendar right near you that you?
Oh my
look at?
God! But that's another thing I love about him is his word of the day calendar. And
His
how he
word of the day
uses it.
calendar appears to be a private detective word of the day calendar. Everything he says has to really kind of do with the case.
It's perfect. It's so perfect.
Oh, can I tell you? I laughed when the oranges started falling.
Oh,
out of
the
tree.
oranges fall off the tree. Oh yeah. So he's got an office set up. It's not a big fancy office. It's a simple office because he's
Right.
out in the Midwest. And yes, he's got a secretary. He doesn't know how to use his phone, his office
Nope.
phone. She tries to page him in, and he doesn't know what to, so she just yells to him. And when his one client comes in, yeah, it's great. There's a huge tree next to his desk, big plant. And while they're talking, oranges just start falling from it. And she's like, is this thing dying? But the woman that comes into his office is someone he's, quote, been investigating. He's a private detective.
Right, because when he's dressed as Don King,
yes,
we get the idea that he's supposed to be photographing. He's a private detective, so he's basically hired by people to find out if their spouse is having an affair.
Mm-hmm.
So that's what he's doing. That's why he's there.
But he's swinging on this.
Yeah.
On
It's not very
painters thing.
inconspicuous. I mean, it's
No, he's swinging back and forth until finally, and he does this a couple of times, even at the very end when he gets in the airplane. He makes an entrance into this couple's apartment by just flings in through the window.
Yes.
And crash lands on their on a seat.
The theme of this movie is adultery. I think he is there to photograph adultery. He goes through those people's apartment who are having an argument because this guy thinks his wife's cheating on him.
Mm-hmm.
Later on in the movie, I think Annie Potts is cheating with 2 different people. I mean, the whole Jeffrey Jones things, that gets a little creepy because he kind of blackmails her into having an affair. It's a little bit bizarre, but yeah.
But she's into it because she's just into the
Oh,
money.
she's into it. She's all about that money. And her thought is, at one point, I like how her thought is almost like the Disorderlies, where she's gonna murder her husband.
Yes, to get the money. Yes.
Oh. But anyway, but we're not even there yet. We're still. This lady comes in. His big thing also is that as a private detective, he takes pictures without looking at the pictures beforehand, or without really looking at what he's taking pictures of while he's taking the pictures. He's
very spontaneous. He's organic in some ways.
Sure.
He's just very naturalistic. So yeah, he takes these pictures. Is proud to present them to the woman when she comes to the office.
Yes.
And she is pissed because they are not pictures of her cheating husband. They are pictures of her with her husband, I think, having sex with her husband.
Yeah.
And he makes this whole thing, Harry makes this whole back and forth joke about how what a disgusting human being you are for having me find you cheating with your husband.
Yeah,
That's so,
he's like, you sicko pervert.
Yeah.
You want me to take these pictures for you guys? You weirdo.
It's great. Yeah. In the meantime, so he's got this smaller office that he's stationed at, right?
Sure.
That he works out of. But there is a bigger Crumb and Crumb detective agency in it must be in Los Angeles.
So are we to believe that detective agencies run like giant companies where you have like a home office?
This one is.
You know, everybody dresses in suits. They probably have people, you know, they have an accounting department, I guess.
Yeah.
This is the thing I found so unbelievable about this. Because any detective movie I've ever seen, or any private detective movie, it's a setup much like his is. There isn't some weird home office that he has to report to or something.
Well, it would appear that, now I also love, because he is Harry Crumb, he's part of this Crumb legacy of
I love those
detectives.
paintings.
All those giant paintings.
When I saw those, I was like, you think John Candy took these from set and like put them up
I
in
hope
his home?
so.
I hope so too. I kind of
And if
wanted
they're
those.
anywhere out there, I'll buy them on eBay. I love them.
There you go.
They're these huge painted portraits of, well, obviously of John Candy, but of the Harry Crumbs of the past, or
Right,
the Crumb
yes.
seniors, I guess you could
The
say. And what
Crumbs that like started this whole company, like the
Yes,
best of the
yes.
best, and there's
Mhm.
two of them, and basically Jeffrey Jones is talking to whoever that dad is, the father of the girl who was abducted at the beginning of the movie.
Mhm.
And Jeffrey Jones is like, listen, I don't have anybody to spare, but maybe I can get our best private detective.
Yes.
He's on
yes.
he's on assignment in the Midwest, but you know what?
Right.
I'll bet I could pull him off assignment there, and this is pretty important. I'll bet I could
Yeah.
put him on this case.
Yep.
And we soon see that, I mean, the whole idea is that he wants the worst private detective ever to try
Right.
and solve this case because, of course, he's in on the kidnapping. I mean, it's Jeffrey Jones. Look at him. The
Yeah,
moment
exactly.
he comes on
He's
screen
not-
in anything, you're
I-
like, first of all, hide your children. Keep your kids away from this
Yeah,
guy.
yeah.
But also, he's the bad guy.
Yeah, something shady's
Come
going
on.
down.
Yes.
Something's not so right with him. Yeah.
Yeah.
You know right away that he's in cahoots in some form.
I don't think I've ever
Um,
seen him in a movie where he's like the good guy or even just a normal guy.
Yeah, but he doesn't have that look about him.
No,
Just like
no.
the guy, who's the guy that plays the butler or the
What is that guy? What is happening with him? He looks sleepy. He looks cross-eyed. I was like, what is this guy doing? Later on, we find out that he's just been stealing money, and he's like, all right, here's your money
I
back.
know.
Whatever. I like how they ask him, they're like, well, do you know where Jennifer is? And he's like, what? And they go, well, I guess we'll have Harry Crumb find him. And he's like, oh, thank God. It's like, wait, did he think that they were going to make him their butler, look for their kidnapped daughter? I don't know why this guy was there.
Oh, it's great. 'Cause
I
he's
loved
great,
it. Every
'cause
time it
when
just,
he's
like,
dusting the empty fish tank,
Yes. Like, I d-
and
every
when he's
time the
like,
camera
"Oh, I
went to him,
bet
was
you're
like,
all
okay,
gonna
right,
want coffee."
something
Yeah.
great's about to happen. But he just kind of looks bored, nonplussed to be
Yeah.
there. He doesn't care.
Mm-mm.
Oh my God. Oh, I also have a big question for all the crazy costumes and insane outfits that John Candy's wearing in this. What is with his orange hair? What is with that dye job they gave him for this movie?
It's part of being Harry Crumb.
It's insane looking,
I
though.
think it's fine.
I don't know what
loved
it like. Just have him with his normal hair. When
No.
I saw him out of costume, because of course he looked like Don King, but the moment he's walking to his office in broad daylight, I was like, "What is this outfit he's wearing? What is this weird Ronald McDonald costume?" But
I
no,
loved it.
It's his hair.
Yeah, he's got this, like you said, it's like a bright orange hair color. It makes him the Harry Crumb, is what it makes him. Because with the other color hair, he's just like,
He's just John
he-
Candy.
yeah, yeah.
Okay.
He's not Harry, and now with the hair, he's Harry.
Wow.
You see?
This.
It's
Wow.
a transformation of sorts.
Do you think it was his choice? He's like, listen,
I've-
I always
he
play
might have.
myself. Basically, play myself in movies. What am I gonna
Yeah.
do? Orange
Changing
hair.
up the hair color.
Let's do it.
It says detective to me. It
It
says
says-
goofy, crazy, zany detective is what it says.
Oh my God.
It's gonna work, and it does, and it does.
Sure. It
does.
works.
Yeah.
That's why I was a little confused near the end of this. Like after everything happened, I was like, hey, maybe he's just a really good detective. Especially at the end when everybody's like, wait, what are we doing? Here, the escrow accounts, blah, blah, blah. What should we do with this meeting? He's like, whoa,
Because
hold
it all
on. Call the
works out
bank
for
back
him.
and tell them that we want this knocked down to 8%. And just reschedule that movie
Yeah.
that meeting for Wednesday. And I was like, oh, he really does have his shit together. But you're telling me that he doesn't.
Well, that's the charm. You see, that's
But
the
he's not
charm of Harry
charming.
Crumb.
I mean, he's charming, but he's not good at pretending that he knows what he's talking about. Every time he talks about how he knows what he's doing, he comes
He's
off
got the
sounding
dad
like an
fooled.
idiot.
He's
I
got
don't.
The dad.
Okay. All right. He does. But after that conversation, when he's playing with that fishing rod, I don't know why he would believe him at all.
When he gets the fish stuck on his finger.
Gets some fish stuck on his finger.
Wait,
and
wait,
mushes
let's
it
get
in the
there.
book. Okay.
Let's get there. So, while he's in his little Midwest office with the orange tree that leaks onto his tape or onto his desk, he gets a phone call from the main office.
From the main office, yes.
And they want him to come and, like you said, take on this case. So he takes. We get a little Jim Belushi action.
What is it? This doesn't need to be in here.
For
just
a
get rid of it.
second,
Jim Belushi
they
doesn't need to be
share-
in anything, but still,
It's
just
fun.
get rid
They
of him.
share a little bus ride. He offers him some chips or some snacks. Belushi refuses. We never see Belushi again. We're done
Nope.
with him.
No, he wandered onto set one day for lunch, and this is what they made him
And
do.
they gave him a couple lines. It was fun for them too.
Okay.
Then we get a little. Harry goes to rent a car, and first he goes to rent this green kind of jalopy of a car, but he takes that off the lot and it gets hit right away.
Yep.
And then he gets this red convertible, this sharp-looking red. I'm going to say it's a Cadillac convertible. I don't know.
That green jalopy is a Mustang. Like, that's got a Mustang logo on the front. So that's what I was watching this, because there's no dialogue. It's just music playing. And I'm like, wait, is that a better car or worse? Like, I was not sure what was really going on at this point. But it is hit. He has to get the other car. And I guess that makes a better impression when people see it. I don't know.
I don't know. I think maybe because it's red and it's fun, but I didn't really get why we had to get into the car he drives, because we don't see it enough. But whatever.
He could have just shown up at the office. We don't need. We don't need this Belushi scene. We don't need this car scene. You could have made this movie an hour 20. I would have been okay with that. You don't. I think
it was an hour 20.
The extra
it was
10 minutes.
29.
Okay.
So.
I would have appreciated it a little more streamlined, I'm saying.
All right. You had some things you wanted to edit out. Fair enough. He gets now to his office, and he's got here his own office.
Yeah.
A weird office. He gets a little tour. He gives himself a little tour. He plays with all the things. There's a weird bike that's like literally a bike.
It's like a stationary bike, but it's one, and I've seen these things where it can transition from a stationary bike to a regular bike.
I've seen that.
But yeah, he's got that. He's playing with things. He has weird interaction with the receptionist where she's like, yeah, he's like, there's a lot of changes around here. And she goes, well, it has been 10 years. And he goes, but a lot of things are still the same. Would you like a mint? I was like, is he saying she has bad breath and has had bad breath since he saw her last time?
There you go.
Oh, hey!
The weird interaction with the secretary. But then,
yes.
I don't know what you said. But then he gets into his own office.
Yeah.
And he has there's a giant machine there that to us now looks archaic, but it's a paper shredder.
Sure.
And he gets his necktie stuck in the paper shredder as
of course he does.
Shredding paper. And I think it's hilarious. The secretary's trying to call him, and he's stuck in the paper shredder. So he goes over to his phone, and he is able to cut himself out of the paper shredder. So now he's got a cut tie on.
The thing I will say is, I wouldn't consider myself a John Candy aficionado. I don't really know a lot of his movies. I'm sure I've seen a lot, but this movie really showed me that he's really good when he is on screen with someone else. When he has someone else to play off of, I think he's very good. Because when the secretary walks in, he has to cut his tie real quick and stands up, and it's super tiny. Like, that interaction is great. His physical comedy when he's alone is not good. The whole, like, I'll stick a pencil in this thing and oh my God, it went and it sharpened the pencil down to just a tiny nub. Yeah, I wasn't into that. I wasn't into the paper shredder thing. But when he's with other people and interacting, that's when I thought he's his best. When he can deliver dialogue really well is what I'm trying to say, I guess.
Yeah, he's got good timing.
Yes.
Great little comic timing for that. Yeah.
Yeah.
So then you do like it when he goes and meets with, what's his name in the movie?
Elliot.
Elliot. That's right. It's even a
Yes.
sleazy name. Yeah. So he meets with Elliot, who I don't know who this other guy is that they introduce him to, who starts talking Japanese to him.
I don't
And
know.
Harry Crumb has no idea how to speak Japanese. He's
Of
just
course
like,
not.
yes.
Yeah.
Sure.
And I like how Japanese the guy's like, your English isn't that good either.
Yeah.
Yeah. But I also like how he walks into the room and to this guy who is not his boss, he assumes is his. Like, I just love the fact that he does not know who his boss is at this point. He also doesn't know who his boss is when he meets the father, which I thought that was a line that made me laugh so much. When the father goes, Elliot says, you're one of the best. And he goes,
I'd like
this
to
guy sounds pretty smart. I'd love to meet him someday. And he goes, didn't he send you? I enjoyed that actually got a laugh out of me.
He does a lot of times too. His response to things like that is just exactly.
Yep.
Exactly. He'll say exactly. When he really doesn't know, or he should have answered something different.
I like how when he's admiring the fishing rod and the guy's like, you sure know your bamboo? And he's like, bamboo? That's my business. Also, my business is knowing things that people don't think that I'm supposed to know.
I'm supposed to know, yeah.
What are you talking about?
He claims he knows all about fly fishing, but then he sticks his hands on all those fly fishing. I don't know what they're called, pins, needles.
Lures, let's call them lures or hooks,
okay.
sure.
And clearly hurts his hands. And then so when he goes and meets with the dad of this kidnapped girl, and we find out she's kidnapped and she's being held by some weirdo that's got her maybe on a farm. There's animals there. There's a meat grinder. He's got
weird.
A cow poker.
Mm-hmm.
He's just crazy. And she's in a robe, obviously, because she was at the spa before she was kidnapped.
Right.
And just looks sweaty and scared.
I like it when Shawnee Smith meets him at the door and he's like, oh, who are you? And she goes, I'm so-and-so's daughter. And he's like, I happen to know that his daughter has been kidnapped. She's like, I'm his other daughter.
And he's so exact about. Oh, well, when he arrives at their house, though, he's been caught in the sprinkler, so it looks like he's pissed himself.
Yes, yeah.
And as he's trying to dry off the stain, it looks like he's jerking himself off.
Yep,
and she catches him and is just disturbed by all of it. But he gets in the house and
I also like it when he's in the house talking to her and he goes, and I will, and he runs over the chair and looks behind it and goes, find your sister. Maybe I like this movie more than I thought I did.
Do you see? Now that you talk about it, you realize how funny he really is.
But also, you're saying that he's fooling everyone. He looks like he pissed himself. He's a fish is on his hand. He's talking about bamboo. He doesn't make any sense. He's got fishing lures in his hands. How is his dad buying that this guy knows anything?
Because he's got this way about him. He's got this charming little Harry Crumb way where he cocks his eyebrows, the way he presents his information, and they've been just told, he's this great detective, and maybe they just think he's a little quirky. Yeah. Because he does. When he meets with the dad and he rattles off fly fishing facts and he sticks his hand in the fish tank and a fish gets stuck on his finger and then he whacks the fish off his finger and it lands perfectly on a picture frame of the dad with a fish.
I forgot about that. It just sticks there like he threw a gummy fish. I like when he admires the fish on the wall and he's like, it's a great fish up there. It's a big one.
Because he doesn't know what the hell it is.
Right.
Oh my gosh. Oh, it's so good. Oh, it's so good. Besides Nikki is the
Nikki is the daughter. Nikki is Shawnee Smith.
Mm-hmm. We also get to meet Annie Potts, and we find out that she's got something going on with the tennis instructor, and she's really just married this guy for the money, and so I think the scene ends with him playing darts at the dad, right? In the dad's
and he
office
ruins all of his stuff. He breaks the dartboard. I was impressed that he closed his eyes and got a bullseye.
Yeah.
But so I mean, right from the jump, he sees Annie Potts is pretty rude to her daughter or stepdaughter or whatever. Shawnee Smith makes it very clear that's not my mom.
Yeah, we're not have a good relationship, right?
and he sees her making out with this tennis instructor. So, I mean, right from the jump, Harry Crumb believes that Annie Potts is
Yes.
the kidnapper. I don't even think his mind changes at all through the entirety of this movie.
No. Well, what does he say? He says something right there to Nikki. I think he says something like, "The kidnapper cannot kidnap oneself," or something like that. Like,
right? Yeah, he says that too. Yeah, I forget when he says that. Is that when they're making a smoothie? I think that's when they're making a smoothie.
That's right, because they make
For all the weird and wacky scenes of this movie that I remembered, when they started making a smoothie, I was like, oh, I remember this. They just make a smoothie. I was like, nothing's happening in this scene. Why is this stuck in my brain? They don't even, like, why doesn't he, like, drink it at the end and, like, spit it back out or something? No, they don't even finish making it. It's just a bonding scene between these two.
It's just to show what a good little relationship they have. And I think a little bit later he calls her like a smoothie head or something like that.
Yeah, smoothie girl, smoothie head. It's weird.
I have it written down.
Because they're in the car, they're about to die because there's no brakes on this. And he's like, just duck down, my little smoothie head. I was like, what? That seems odd. It's very strange, Harry Crumb.
It's a little nickname for it. It's fun. Gets a laugh. Yeah.
So we have not seen him in crazy outfits since the start of this movie, but his whole thing is, I'm going to go back to the scene of the crime. I have to go to this spa. So he disguises himself as a giant Turkish man who runs quality control for the company. What?
And he has this bright blue, what do you call this outfit that he's got on?
It's the opposite of what you're supposed to do. If you're trying to infiltrate someplace, blend in, every single one of his disguises just scream, please look at me. Please pay attention to me. It's so
great.
weird. He's got a bald cap on, but like sideburns.
Yeah, and chest hair, obviously. Some chest hair.
I didn't even know which. I just thought he was wearing like a black t-shirt.
He's shouting at the beauticians. He's like, tighter with the curls, make it better, it's no good. And the guy that's giving him the tour is like, oh, you want us to do better? We can do better. And he goes down to where these mud bath things are being given and interviews this one woman who gave...
The woman who we saw chloroformed at the beginning.
Right. And like you said, this is maybe the scene that grosses you out, where there's a body, a lady, laying in mud.
So much mud.
So they talk over her, and at one point, like you said, his chest hair falls onto her crotch, and he like stares at it quickly and then picks it up and puts it on his face.
Like he didn't even know what his disguise was.
And I love it. Maybe your eyes are playing tricks on me.
I like it when he's talking to the receptionist before this, and he's like, I am from Budapest. And she goes, hungry? And he's like, no, I had a falafel earlier. And she even goes, that's not what I meant.
So good.
They play tic-tac-toe. Why do they play tic-tac-toe on this woman's stomach, too?
They're talking about...
they're
talking about how... So, because she says, well, this was not her appointment. It wasn't Jennifer's appointment. It was Jennifer's stepmom's appointment. And then Jennifer took the appointment.
Right.
So they have this whole discussion while playing tic-tac-toe. So if she took the appointment, then somebody else would have known that she would not be at this appointment for today.
Yeah.
And so there's tic-tac-toe played on a muddy woman's stomach.
Mm-hmm.
And then I love this. So the next scene is when the ransom note is found, or the first ransom note is given,
right? And
they're all looking and checking it out at the dad's house, and Harry is wearing these rubber gloves. And I have to tell you, so for a little while, I worked at the children's hospital, right? And you have to be trained to wear certain gloves to do certain work at the hospital, right? So during the training for the
Did Richard Simmons wear those gloves when he came in and screamed in the kids' faces that time?
No.
Did he put those? What's your
name?
What's your name? What do you got? What kind of disease do you have, kid?
and so much just lycra and
I
spandex
just
that
don't
that man wore.
understand why was that like kids aren't going to know who this maniac is.
No, but I did.
Of course you did. Did you get a picture with him?
I did.
Oh, you did. Okay. All
Yeah,
right.
yeah. I'll have to post it on our. Well, now I'll definitely have to post it.
Give it to me. I'll put it up
Not
as the
just this
image for
Facebook
this episode. I'll put it up
because
so
it
when
makes
so when
totally sense for
Well,
me to have for
who cares?
Tripp's image
Doesn't
to be-
matter.
Okay, great.
I put up. You probably don't. And I'm sure you don't subscribe to the Patreon. I don't know that you don't even listen to the episodes, right? Pretty much.
All right, let's see. Yeah.
I think Barrett might listen to the Patreons, but for the patrons, when I put up the unedited episode, I put a picture of just some random nonsense that we talked about that has nothing
Perfect.
to do with the movie. So we talk about David Bowie being in Flash Gordon. I'll just put a picture up of David Bowie
I love it.
for a Flash Gordon episode. So, yeah.
Okay, so this will be our random picture. I'll send
Yeah,
it to you.
sure. Yeah.
Anyway, when we got trained for this glove thing,
Mm-hmm.
it was very complicated. It is to put a glove on the right way, and then you couldn't take it. You had to not touch your other fingers when you take the glove off. Anyway, latex gloves can be very complex, as Harry Crumb shows us.
But even a baby who doesn't know anything about gloves, I don't think
babies.
would try and take them off the way that he tries to take them off, which
He's
is
also
pulling
got big
the
hands.
fingers.
He also has big hands, and he has
I like how
do
the
love
one's
the-
just ripped and his two
Yeah, it's
fingers
just
are
ripped
just
on his hand.
exposed. And why is he wearing like mustard yellow gloves too?
I know.
It seemed like an odd choice.
I agree. I do love what he says though. So they look, and it's one of those ransom notes that's written or the ransom letter writer has cut out different letters of a
Yes.
magazine and put it together. And Harry says, "I'll tell you what, you find that crazy typewriter, and you'll find those kidnappers."
And also, at this point in the movie, for no reason,
so
for
good.
no reason, we are introduced to a hard-ass detective. Just a woman
yeah.
who walks around in a tie
Yep.
and just, doesn't like these private detectives because they're
No.
arrogant and they're stupid.
Yeah, she's not so she's the detectives hired by. She's a police
She's like, yeah, she's an
detective.
actual police detective on this
Mhm.
case.
And he's a private detective, and she's got a
Right.
thing against private detectives, but she's
Mhm.
still, she's on the case, and he's on the case. So it makes for, when they have a dinner party later, a very interesting dinner party. Which I
Yes.
guess you would have a dinner party for the people that are.
Don't know.
investigating the
I
case
have
of your
no
kidnapped
idea.
daughter.
I have no
So
idea. Because right before this dinner party, though, we do see Jeffrey Jones. He goes out to the stables
right,
where Annie Potts
right.
is, and he's all over Annie Potts like she's a child. And
Mhm.
keep
Well,
your kids,
I don't
keep your
know.
kids away from Jeffrey Jones, everybody. Don't Wikipedia Jeffrey Jones. You will find out some terrible things about this guy.
True? Is this true?
Oh yeah, he like kitty porn stuff. Yeah.
Oh, no way.
Oh, I thought you knew that.
I didn't know that.
Okay, that's why I was
gross.
making references to keep your kids away from him.
Even
yeah.
just because it looked creepy, I thought that's why.
No,
but that's true.
no. There was
Oh.
an incident. I don't know if he ever did time for it or if it was just a little small thing that people found stuff. I don't know. But yeah, it's gross. He's gross. So
Oh.
yeah.
So-
Anyway,
okay. So yeah, he's all
Yeah.
over Annie Potts like she's 7 years old. And
there you go. That's better than what I said.
and
Because he's okay. So here's the thing that I don't quite understand. I guess he's just assuming that she'd be into him if he had money because the
Oh, yeah.
kidnapping has already taken place. Like he's already done this,
Yeah.
and we finally, I guess, see what his motive is because he finally says, like, "Hey, if I had money, would you be into me?" And she's like,
Right.
"Yeah, sure, why not?"
Yeah. I think he knows. I think obviously that's why he planned the kidnapping because he
Right.
knew he could get a lot of money out of this guy for it. And at the end game was to win over Annie
Win
Potts.
over
They
Annie
know each other
Potts.
from school. She says
Yeah.
something about it. This is not like when we were in school.
Yeah,
or
they
whatever.
dated for a little while. It's a little weird,
It's
but
a bizarre love
yeah.
triangle. It's a very bizarre love triangle because
But-
she's really living with or dating the tennis guy, but
Yep.
then she's married to the kidnapper's father. or the kidnappee's father, I should say.
Yep, the kidnappee's father. Yep,
Yes,
kidnappy. It's not like
kidnappies. Yeah, it's not like kids.
it's not like a diaper
No.
for a kid.
No. But so after their little rendezvous in the stables,
Yes.
they all sit down. I don't think Nikki is there, but the woman
No.
detective is there, and Annie Potts is there, and gosh, now I can't believe how creepy that guy is with little kids.
Yeah,
But,
sorry.
that's okay. Elliot's there, the husband's there, and obviously Harry Crumb is there. And they're all
Yes.
sitting down at dinner, sort of discussing the case, sort of having dinner. And Annie Potts is just a hornball. And so she starts playing footsies
Right.
with Harry Crumb under
Yeah,
the
which is
table.
weird. Like, I don't understand this. Like, why is she doing it? Is it just because she's a total hornball and it's like, well, I guess I've never had sex with one man at this table, so I better...
Yeah, I think it's just sort of to distract, maybe throw him off the scent of
Okay.
because she's got her own plans to... Because she wants the guy's money too, but her plan was to murder him, not kidnap anybody and
Right, yes.
get the money from him.
Yes.
So she plays footsie with him. He plays footsie with Elliot. Elliot then plays footsie with the female detective, and the female detective is the one that's like, "Excuse me, this is not professional." And they all kind of straighten up and
because it's an interesting thing because, like you said, she's playing footsies with him, so he's like, well, I guess I better do this back. So then he starts playing footsies with Jeffrey Jones, which I think is hilarious. Also, Jeffrey Jones is sucking down this champagne.
yeah.
He's got a goblet of this stuff. And then, like you said, he thinks it's the detective, so starts playing footsies with her. It is a whole funny thing because when everybody freaks out, when the detective freaks out, they all look guilty, and the father's just there going, I think it's time for coffee. Like, I don't know what's happening right now.
Yeah, because he is. He's like, no one's playing footsie with me. And that's when we have that cross-eyed guy that's kind of like, oh, now everyone's going to want coffee. Great.
Sorry, I don't do research during our podcast ever. He served 5 years probation and has to register as a sex offender because a 14-year-old accused him of solicitation.
Ooh,
and he pleaded no contest, and he was arrested for possession of child pornography.
Oh, so he did have the
Jeffrey
stuff.
Jones. Ooh. Yuck. Okay, anyway, back to this hilarious movie.
All right.
Sorry, I didn't mean to bring down the room here.
That's all right. I'm glad he's the bad guy in this movie, though.
Yeah.
Like you said, he's not really a good guy in any movie, and now it's clearly understood why. Anyway.
We should have known.
So-
If you're always the bad guy in movies, people should look into, has anybody looked into Willem Dafoe? I mean, I'm not saying he did anything.
Eric
but
Roberts?
Look
Has
at the
anybody
guy.
looked
Eric
into
Roberts?
Eric Roberts?
If nobody's looked into Eric Roberts yet, that is a crime. We need to get Harry Crumb on Eric Roberts immediately. Allegedly. Oh man! All right. So this is when Harry Crumb is there to just boost Shawnee Smith's self-esteem by making smoothies.
Oh, this is when they make the shake. Yeah.
I like how she refers to Annie Potts as a nympho. Harry Crumb does not know what the word means.
No.
He's just nympho.
It's not in his word of the day calendar.
Nympho. And she's like, she's got a habit like 5 times a day. He's like, oh, nympho. Oh, yeah, that. But it's very sweet, and it's not what I expected this movie to be, which is just the nice relationship between these two, because he sees that she's, neglected. She's the lesser sister. I like it earlier when he says to the father, he's like, oh, I met Nikki downstairs, and the father goes, Nikki? Oh yeah, her. So he gets it, and he's like, listen, I could use some help on this case.
Right.
And so now they're just like
help.
a team. Because he even tells her, he's like, hey, listen, Annie Potts, she's a kidnapper. All we have to do is get more proof. The end. Maybe they're hot tubbing on a boat.
Well, yes. So now they go and spy. What are these little spy glasses they have? They're so fun.
They look like
They're so
things
fun.
you'd get like in a in a Happy Meal at McDonald's or
Yeah.
something. Like, they
They're
look
these
bizarre.
long, like, yeah.
It's like a
Um,
periscope.
yes. And
Yeah.
and Annie Potts and the tennis guy are on a boat, but on a hot tub on the deck of the boat.
Yeah.
While the boat is still parked in the
Yeah. Which I assume is
boat
in the
dock.
marina. It's a marina.
Yeah, marina. Thank you.
I assume
It's a
that this is
marina.
not Tim Thomerson's boat, right? Like, it can't be. He's not rich. They're doing a terrible job of pretending they're not having an affair. Like,
Yeah,
she
yeah, they're
seems
not
to be
trying to
at his
cover it up
apartment
and
all the time
all
near
the
the end
time.
of this
Yeah.
movie.
Yeah. And now they're hot tubbing together, and then
Mhm.
so they're watching, and Harry says he can read lips,
Oh boy.
and
He can
allegedly,
read the word dick and I guess his own name.
Yeah.
That's what he
He's
can
like,
read.
they're talking about my my abilities as a private
As a
detective.
private detective. And I just love how he's like, yeah, I can read lips. They're not talking about the kidnapping. And he's like, yeah, they're totally the kidnappers.
Yeah.
Like,
Oh yeah, we've got him right now.
Yep.
And she's so excited, she just believes in him. And then
Uh-huh.
he slips. He takes a little slip, and he
Yep.
lands on a window. Tells her he's okay, but then the window flips, and he is stuck on a ceiling fan inside of this, like.
This is a scene where when he fell through that window, when the window rotates all the way over, like it goes
He
up, he
flips.
slides off, and then
Yeah.
it goes closed. I was like, all right, that's a funny scene. It didn't need to keep going. Like, I was
Oh,
ready
but
to
it
just
does.
move on. And yes,
But
it
it does.
keeps going.
So now he is stuck on a ceiling fan, and he's
Mhm.
holding on for dear life to the ceiling fan.
Just
And this-
standing there.
And nobody sees. And the ceiling fan's moving kind of slowly around, so
Mhm.
he's slowly spinning around this room, holding on for dear life. And this little boy is at dinner
Mm-hmm.
with his parents. And I guess there's this little, what is it called? The C, when you are manning a boat, you have to turn the wheel of the ship.
Yeah, but it's not a wheel. It's like the levers that you pull down.
Yeah.
You know, whatever.
Well,
I
so
don't know.
the
They
kid
ding
finds
as he
this
pulls them
thing.
down. Yeah.
That he can control the speed of the fan.
This
So
kid,
Harry
I
looks at
totally
him.
wanted it to be a young Joaquin Phoenix. That's kind of who I thought it was for a
Oh,
little while.
For
It's
a
not.
split second, yeah, no, it's not. But that would have been great. Great
Yeah.
little cameo. So the kid makes the fan go super fast. I
Mhm.
think this is hilarious that he gets spun around like crazy. Harry, we don't know how he gets off, but finally he gets off of the
No.
fan, and
Did-
he's so dizzy when he walks out into the crowd that he can't walk straight.
He falls
and
off the
eventually
pier.
falls
Yeah.
off the pier. Makes
Did
a
you
big
want to see
splash.
that John Candy dummy fly off of there? Because I did. Like, that's what I
did
wanted to
too.
have happen.
Well, yeah, they have him at one point holding on to the sides and spinning really
It's
fast
just-
around.
It is just the worst John Candy dummy ever, spinning around on this thing with him going, whoa, whoa, whoa.
Oh, yeah.
whoa. So
Oh.
Annie Potts and Tim Thomerson, like, their whole thing is, all right, some kidnappers took this girl. They want
Right.
$10 million.
The kidnappers.
We cannot let him pay them. What we're going to do is we're going to murder him before he has a
can pay.
chance to
Right.
pay the kidnappers.
And they're going to cut the brakes on his fancy
know.
car, is what they
All
decide.
of this could have been avoided very early on if Jeffrey Jones had just let Annie Potts know what was happening. You know?
Well, he needed the money first. He had to guarantee he had the cash.
I know.
Before he makes the big deal.
So they decide
you
to
know?
cut the brakes, and I like how this big dum-dum, Tim Thomerson, how she's like, did you cut the brakes? He's like, you know what? I did something better. The brakes will work until it reaches a certain speed. I'm like,
Oh,
I don't
yeah,
think
yeah.
that's how brakes work, Tim Thomerson. I don't know what you think you did to this, but that's not a thing.
Well, they cut the brakes, but now for some reason,
Well,
So the-
this is where Harry goes back to the office and tells Jeffrey Jones that Annie Potts is the kidnapper.
oh, that's right.
and
right.
she's a slut.
Yes.
He does. He also talks about how he knows jujitsu and he does a
Yeah.
backflip. that looks ridiculous. Like the wire work on this backflip is super crazy looking. It's like a
Is this-
slow motion backflip. It looks totally wild.
Is this the first time we see the dinosaur egg in his office, though? The
I-
precious dinosaur
That
egg?
was he's got a dinosaur egg, and I love how he tells him he's like, that's over 20 million years old, and there's only about 5 of them in the world. And how Harry Crumb goes, you know what? I bet that's worth something.
So good.
So yeah, he's got a priceless dinosaur egg, and he's got skeletons, like animal
Yeah,
skeletons.
he's into all kinds of I love
He's
it, 'cause
into all
like-
kinds of. Jeffrey Jones
Harry's
is into
like,
all
"Is this
kinds
a
of
dog?"
creepy shit.
Yeah,
Everybody.
he just is. And it's displayed in his detective's office
Right.
because that's a good place for it.
Yeah, they asked him when he came on set. They're like, Jeffrey Jones, we want to like decorate your office. Like, what are you into? And he's like, He just frantically thought about what children were into, and he's like, dinosaurs.
Yeah, that works. That works.
Yeah, dinosaurs in space. Yep, those are
Yeah.
my things.
That's what I like. Make it work. So they decide. Why does he decide to go for a ride in his car instead? Does
He just
think-
admires the
because-
car. He's like, yeah, that's a bitchin' car there, Mr. Kidnappy. You know, because that's all he says. Because
Yeah.
the guy's going to go for a ride. He's like, oh, I need to
to get
turn
his
my
mind
head.
off of everything.
Yes.
Right.
But Harry, oh man, I keep wanting to call him Harry Potter.
No.
But Harry Crumb is like, hey, can I just tool around in this? And did you notice now for the longest time in this, Shawnee Smith appears to be wearing like a denim flight suit? What is this thing that she's wearing?
She's got some crazy
It's got
fashion.
patches
that
all
happens.
it's got
Yeah.
like space shuttle patches on it, and it's like a romper. It's like a onesie. It's
It was a look. It
Oh,
was a
my
look.
God.
She was like a funky 80s style.
yeah,
For the whole,
Sure.
even the when her hair in the beginning and
yeah.
she's got this little funky vibe to her.
Oh yeah, she has
Um,
like a side pony, like
Yeah.
Who was that girl in Sleepaway Camp that had the big side pony? The
Oh,
bad
yeah,
girl.
yeah.
What was her name?
Oh, I can't think of her
Oh,
name.
I can't think of
Not-
her name either.
Oh, I can't think. All I can think is
All right.
Angela. Oh, now you
There
got me
is
all
a shirt.
sidetracked.
There is a shirt that has a picture of her on it. I should get it for you. The bad girl from Sleepaway Camp, and it
Uh-huh.
says whatever her name is. It's like her name's side pony died for your sins.
Very clever.
All right.
All right. Well, there's that. Now you
So
got me
the
thinking about
car
something.
has no brakes. For some reason, like, why does Tim Thomerson and Annie Potts like drive away too?
I
Are
think
they going? They're just going somewhere.
They're
and they
going
wanna-
somewhere because she doesn't want to be around
When
So
it happens.
She thinks that the dad is
Mhm.
going for the drive, and she says, "We just got to get out of here, and then
Right.
we'll find out later." I know exactly when he's going to hit the spot and the drive that he'll lose
Mhm.
his brakes. But nay, they're actually being followed by Harry and Nikki,
Yes.
who eventually lose their brakes, and they get hooked on for a second. They're hooked on to Potts' car.
Yep.
Like
Mhm.
they get hooked to the back of it and they just kind of drive along with it. That's when he calls her. He says, "Not now, my little health shake." That's what he calls her.
Okay, all right.
And they eventually get somehow unhooked from the car.
Yes.
And I love this when again the car is just careening and they're just screaming. And at one point, Harry's reading a book while he's
He's
trying
just
to stop
reading
the
a
car
book.
that says
Reading a book
"Emergency
about, like-
driving made easy."
But it's like a hardback bound
Yeah.
book.
And he crashes into a tree as
Yes.
because I think it tells him pump the brakes 3 times. He's like, "Oh yeah, pump the brakes. That makes sense."
It's like, that's sensible. I get it. All right. Yeah, he runs
and then he
into a
crashes
tree.
into a tree. Right.
Another orange falls on his head. Womp
Yes.
womp. And then he's in brown face. And
Yeah, then
this is...
Now works for Bombay Air Conditioning.
Yep.
And he goes to, I guess it's the tennis or the Annie Potts' boyfriend's apartment.
Yeah. Yeah, it's Tim Thomerson's apartment,
right.
and he talks to the guy working the front. He's not even working the front desk. The dad from Freaks and Geeks. He's like
Oh,
working.
yeah.
He's just like in what appears to be a living room, hanging out.
Yeah, I guess it's like the lobby of the
I don't,
of the
it's a tiny lobby
apartment building
with
yeah.
a little tiny TV.
And he first he tells him he can't go in, and then he threatens him. Harry Crumb's like, but these people are angry at you because they don't have air conditioning, and I need to make that right. So he goes, and
I don't think he ever convinces him. Like, that's the weird thing about this is the guy's like, no, you can't come in here. We didn't order this. Da da da.
Right.
Harry Crumb argues with him. It's never resolved, but suddenly he's there in the air conditioner.
Yeah, he's in. He gets in the vent. Well, he gets inside his little Bombay air conditioning thing that he brings in is Nikki.
Yes.
Nikki and him communicate, and I don't know why Nikki doesn't get sent up through the air conditioning vent. She seems like the better fit.
That would make a lot more sense in this movie. She may have been able to look through the vent and see what was happening in the room rather than go, I'm sure this isn't dialogue from a television show.
Yeah, so he gets into the vent, he gets to the room, Nikki guides him to the room, and it's the creepy guy now.
Well, because Tim Thomerson has to go. He's like, I have a tennis lesson. I'm like a doctor. I'm always on call.
Yeah.
She's like, you're a putz. Get out of here. And then you're right. Jeffrey Jones shows up and is like, hey, I'll tell your husband you're having an affair unless you sleep with me?
Yeah, kind of blackmails.
Okay. All right.
And she's okay with it.
She's
like, all right, well, whatever we got to do, let's just get it over with.
Yeah,
and
I like how she's like, yeah, that sounds really good. Give me a minute, I got to use the bathroom, and he can't sit there for more than 10 seconds without being like, I wonder what's on TV.
Let's check out TV. And so I don't even know what is it a clip from?
It's like a soap opera. Who knows?
Okay.
I'm sure it was a clip made for this movie, I would say.
Well, they talk about going to Bombay and hiding something away. So he and Nikki think they've got some good information here.
Yes.
Which they do now as Elliot's watching this, he goes, "Oh, Bombay. Maybe we will go there." So, and then Harry takes some pictures of them through the vent. The vent, she's hot, and she makes Elliot turn up the air conditioning, and that's when Harry gets blasted eventually out of the vent and falls into the dad from Freaks and Geeks falls like onto him at some point. First, a little money
knocks him out, knocks him unconscious, because he does turn up the air conditioning, and it's so cold that I like how his fake beard starts to get icicles on it.
Yeah.
And then she's like, just put it on fan or vent or something, which doesn't make sense. And it reverses the direction of the air, I guess. And suddenly his pants balloon up behind him. And he's shot through corridors of this vent. It's almost like when Arnold got shot down that chute in The Running Man. But he comically flies out, knocks this dude out, and is just like, well, you know what? I got some pretty great pictures that he couldn't see because he just has to hold his camera in front of him.
And then he doesn't look at either,
Oh, I love how he doesn't look at the pictures, because he goes to Jeffrey Jones and he's like, I was at Tim Thomerson's apartment and I took some pictures of the two of them totally doing it. And this is very confusing because Jeffrey Jones he looks at the pictures and it's clearly him.
Yes, it's like him.
His face is never obscured. And Jeffrey Jones goes, wait, you didn't look at these pictures, did you? Right. And John Candy's response is, no, but do you see how tiny that dude's dick is? I was like, what? What are you talking about? You said you didn't look at these.
But apparently,
he's like, he did notice, I thought Tim Thomerson would have been pretty well hung, but
It would have been obvious. Well, while he's talking and showing these pictures off, they're back in the office.
Yeah.
When he's showing him these pictures. And he's very proud of himself because he did this Harry's very proud of himself because he did this research, and Elliot's like, oh my gosh, you're an idiot. But so Harry gets onto that stationary bike and starts pedaling, and then is like, hey, what's this lever here? And he's like, I think it's a brake.
Yeah.
He pushes it, and comically he rides the bike through the office, and because originally they're going to have a meeting in Elliot's office, and Elliot has got all these weird breakable dinosaur bones and eggs, and he's like, no, let's do this in your office. They do, and Harry ends up riding his bike through the office, crushing into the dinosaur bones and eventually breaking that precious egg.
When you say he rides it through the office, you mean through the office. He breaks through 2 walls, I think, on this bike before the bike flies away and breaks everything in his office, including the egg and all the weird skeletons and everything like that.
Mm-hmm.
And if he's not the villain of the movie, I'd be like, oh, poor Jeffrey Jones. He's just trying to give this guy a job. But no, of course, he's the villain of the movie.
Bad.
So
you don't feel bad. Yeah.
Right. So the plan is this. The kidnappers, first of all, they write a ransom note.
Yes.
A ransom
another
note.
one. Now we have another one.
Jeffrey Jones writes a ransom note. I kind of love this part because it's like, give us the money on Friday. Annie Potts intercepts this, and you see her like doing stuff to the letter. And she's on the phone with Tim Thomerson. She's like, listen, we got to kill this dude this weekend. She looks very proud of herself, puts the ransom note down, and she just X'd out Friday and wrote Monday above it.
Because they want the weekend to kill him.
Yes, I really did love that reveal.
And even on the other line, he's like, I don't think that's going to work. I think they're going to kill her before Monday. She's like, oh, it'll work. Don't worry.
Yeah, it'll work. Don't worry about it. Yes. And I even love later because they're getting the money together.
Right.
And the kidnapper calls Harry Crumb and is like, I want the money. Give me the money today. And even Harry Crumb's like, wait, you don't want it on Monday? I enjoyed that. Also, Harry Crumb is flipping through these packs of $100,000.
Oh, yeah,
going,
he's
yep,
listening.
all there, all there, all there. And he goes, this is missing one. And the detective, the woman cop who we're supposed to hate, I think,
right. Yeah.
she counts it all. And we do realize one is missing, and it's the dopey-eyed butler. Because even the dad is like, give it back.
Yeah.
You thieving butler.
And he does. He's like, oh,
Yeah.
fine.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
But the exchange is supposed to take place at the racetrack for some reason.
Yeah, that's what the that's what the kidnapper set up. And also the evil or the cop detective, the lady, has a honing device she is going to put in the briefcase. She lets them know this way we can track them. So even if we don't know who the kidnapper is, we can follow them. And Harry is unimpressed by this. He's like, great. Yeah, tracking him. That's going to be great. I like it when she hates him just like he hates her. And she looks at him and she says, Harry, I'm going to rip your heart out and eat it for breakfast. And he tells her, take a number. Because so many people want to eat his heart
He's
out
so sassy.
So sassy. So now they go to meet at the racetrack. This is when John Candy is dressed as a jockey and squeezes himself into this tiny little phone booth made for the jockeys. And it's really Elliot calling from the parking lot from a fancy car phone. And first he tries to do an accent.
It's like a
Harry
crazy
doesn't
Spanish
understand.
accent, and John Candy does not understand a word he's saying.
So he just uses his regular voice and doesn't try to disguise it.
No. What's great about it is the plan or the instruction is give it to me. Basically, give it to Elliot. And he's like, what? I don't understand.
And he's like, hello, kidnapper. You're going to have to talk louder.
Give it to Elliot.
So then Elliot comes to get the suitcase, but now he's stuck inside the phone booth with the suitcase. So there's a struggle to get it out.
He has to pry it out, and then he just kind of takes off. Yeah. And I love how, for some reason, I forget how they know that they're flying to Buenos Aires or whatever. But even Shawnee Smith comes, and she's like, you seem really stuck in that phone booth. Do you need help? He's like, no, we can take our time. The flight doesn't leave till 4. There's no rush.
The flight's not till 4. And I'm really... Well, and then when they finally get him out, it's because 3 of the jockeys...
3 jockeys help pull him out, and he squishes one. Kind of funny, I guess.
Yes, it's also funny.
So Jeffrey Jones takes the money, takes the briefcase. He is then tailed by Annie Potts and Tim Thomerson. And they, again, at this point, they don't know he's the kidnapper. They just think he's giving the money to the kidnappers.
Right.
So he puts all the money in a different suitcase,
Switches bags, right?
takes the one and throws it in a dumpster, and they get out of the car like, oh my God, this is where the kidnappers are picking it up in a dumpster. Let's get it. I love the Annie Potts stunt double that just dives into this dumpster.
She does jump right in for it. And then they realize they're pissed. She whacks him over the head with the
She
with
throws
the
that metal suitcase at him,
But now because they don't have the right, they just don't have the right suitcase. But Elliot does, and he gets himself to the airport. And he goes in the airport bathroom, and he makes a quick change of clothes. So he's got his Buenos Aires attire on.
He's ready to go. White suit, Panama hat. Yep.
He's all good to go. He calls Annie Potts, who is back at what's his name's apartment.
Yes.
And kind of says to her, if you want, I'm the kidnapper. I've got the money. I've got 2 tickets to Buenos Aires. Meet me at the airport. She's quick time in a sassy little yellow and red outfit.
Yeah, exactly. The whole time, Tim Thomerson just singing some Sonny and Cher in the shower.
Just hanging out in the shower, just a little.
Because he doesn't care. He's like, I don't know, whatever. So we don't have $10 million. Who cares?
It's fine. We'll figure it out. We got love.
You got me. You seem like a really, really nice woman. I'm sure this is going to work out fine.
It's going to be fine. It's going to be fine. Yeah, she talks. So she meets Elliot at the airport. She's so excited. She confesses to him that she changed the ransom note. They feel like they're meant for each other. Yeah. But then, right at the airport, and I guess this is an airport in the 80s.
I guess this is an airport. Hold on, let's do the research. This movie was made in 1986. You're right, it is.
He pulls a gun. So the boyfriend, what's his name? What's the actor's name?
Tim Thomerson pulls a gun in the middle of the airport. I like how later he just brought the gun on the plane.
Yeah, brings it on the plane and everything. So he pulls the gun out on Elliot and is like, give me, and takes the bag of money, and then Annie Potts quickly does thank you for saving me, and now I can really be with you because it's you I love. Yes. And for a minute he's like, I don't know if I trust you, and she does a little saucy, little tender talk to him, and right away she falls, and he falls back for her, and now they decide to take Elliot and chain him up on a chair in another room.
What this
I don't understand what they do to him.
They put him in a room that appears to be full of IT servers too.
Yeah.
Like it's just blinking lights and buzzing, but also heavy duty chains attached to some sort of torture chair that they tie him up in and then suspend
tape
him.
His mouth closed.
Yep. And they're like, see ya, dude. We're out of here. And
they're going to Buenos Aires.
Yeah.
In the meantime, Harry and Nikki,
we get quite an extended scene. This metal detector scene. I had enough at this point in the movie. I was like, please, no, not one more gag that drags on forever.
But it's so great because
is it so great?
Because he keeps going through. So Harry gets to the airport with Nikki, and now they're on a time constraint, so they've got to hustle, and they go through the metal detector. And a crowd starts to gather behind, and I love it. And Harry keeps going through, and there's change in his pocket, and there's this, and there's that. And then Nikki's growing impatient, and Harry's down to just his boxers. And what else could it be? And he remembers that he's got a metal plate in his head. And it's the metal plate that sets it off. And I love it. The people that have been waiting in line are ohing and awing about the metal plate. You found it annoying. I found it.
I found it annoying until the end because you're right. There's a huge crowd of people, and he goes, "Oh, I've had a metal plate in my head since I was a kid," and the whole crowd goes, "Oh," and he goes, "But it doesn't hurt." Oh,
yeah.
I did like that. It was a good payoff. It took a little bit long to get there, though.
Wow.
So Annie Potts and Tim Thomerson are on this plane, and they're like, hey, guess what? We're on a plane, and it's moving down the tarmac. How could our plan be foiled now?
Oh, I tell you how. By a hero.
By a hero called Nikki driving, I don't know, a truck with those stairs on it? Whatever those stairs are that you drive up to planes so that presidents or the Beatles can get off.
Well, it's the stairs that help you when you arrive on the tarmac.
Mm-hmm.
So she's got the truck. Harry is on the top of the stair.
Mhm.
The song "I Need a Hero" is playing.
It sure
While
is.
she can't really see. I guess I don't know. She's driving haphazardly
Well,
through the tarmac.
I don't think it's that she can't see. I think it's she's
It's
not
hard
used to
for her to
driving
control.
something that extends so
Yeah.
high above
Yeah,
her.
yeah,
Because everything she is hitting is just hitting Harry.
yes.
It's not hitting the truck at all.
No, he gets knocked down the stairs.
Yep.
He flies through a wing. The kidnapper. How does the kidnapper get electrocuted?
I don't know. The kidnapper appears to be in some sort of murder shack, like in the middle of the tarmac,
But not
or
far
something.
from right by the
'cause
airplanes.
He's run into by either the plane or Nikki driving, and
Yeah.
he falls down and electrocutes himself with this
Yes,
cattle
yes.
prod thing that he's
Mhm.
had the whole time.
Mm-hmm.
Nikki
And
is free. Wait, not Nikki, her sister.
Jennifer, I think.
Jennifer is
Jennifer, I
free.
think.
Yes.
Yes, she is freed. Crumb, she rams Harry Crumb right into
the
door.
side of the plane.
Yes,
like-
yeah. Well, I love it that the pilots are about ready for takeoff, and they see Harry just coming at them. And he says, "I think this is the first F-bomb." He says, "What the fuck is
Yes,
that?" That's what the pilot says. And Harry literally comes busting through the airplane door.
Yep.
There's smoke everywhere. Everyone's like, "Who is that? What's happening?" And Crumb, Harry Crumb.
Yep.
Crazy like a fox, he says. I used to say that all the time. I'm crazy like a fox.
I'm sure you did.
He does some crazy karate moves. 'cause
Where he
he's
just
like,
kicks
okay.
his boots off and Tim Thomerson
Well,
and the
no,
boots knock
first he
him
goes-
out.
First, he's like, "Oh,
Yes.
ha 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 ha!"
Yes.
He moves his hands around and makes karate noises. And Tim takes out the gun, and Annie Potts is like, "Well, just shoot him already." And that's when basically Harry kicks his shoes off of his feet and whacks him.
The
in
shoes
face
do
with
all
them.
the work.
Yeah, yeah.
One shoe
And-
knocks the gun out of his hand, and the other shoe hits him in the face and knocks him unconscious.
And there we go. And then they are taken off the plane and arrested. Jennifer saved.
So now, this is very confusing because to wrap everything up, Jennifer saved, but they hear something from the room full of servers, and Jeffrey Jones is in there, and Harry Crumb's like, So you know what I did? I just proved to you that I am the best, that I'm super smart, that you were wrong. Again, not knowing that Jeffrey Jones had anything to do with this. No. And Jeffrey Jones confesses the moment Harry Crumb takes the tape off his mouth. He confesses. So it's just, it all goes so quickly. But now that he realizes that he was the kidnapper, are Annie Potts and Tim Thomerson scot-free? Like, are they now off the hook?
Never. How could they be? Now they've taken the money from the kidnapper. Because they took the money from the kidnapper. So they're still part of the plot. If you steal
from a stealer, you're still a stealer. Got it. Okay.
Do you see that pattern there? And
they're not.
You're wondering.
They're just doing less hard time.
Perhaps.
Okay.
I do like when they're being escorted out of the airport. She's got her sunglasses on. She's holding her head high, like I'm fine. I didn't do anything wrong. So you're right in that. Elliot confesses to being the real kidnapper, which Harry didn't know, but then pretends like he did. He ends up being the hero because he just shouts, "Book him!" And you're saying like, well, how is Harry this bumbling idiot? But what happens is Elliot confesses. He says before his confession is he's going to confess because Harry has driven him mad, basically, with all of his silly antics and questions and stupid comments that Elliot is forced to confess because he's basically driven crazy by Harry. So is he a jerk or a genius?
Well, here's how I read it. I read it that Jeffrey Jones assumed that Harry was there and being all smug and being like, you didn't think I had it in me. I had thought that Jeffrey Jones assumed that Harry knew it was him. You know what I mean? And had come to that conclusion and was just there to basically arrest him. And that's why he confessed and like took credit for all of this.
What does it matter? The confession was made.
It doesn't matter. It's just, like I said, there were certain times in this movie where I was like, I don't think he's that dumb. I think he's saying these things for a laugh. And it mainly had to do with the gigantic picture Jennifer.
It's one of my favorites.
Like I
Of
really
course, we're
thought,
gonna find her. Look at her.
look at her.
Gigantic
Look at the
head.
size of her head. Should be easy to find. Think of how big she is. That kind of is the best line or exchange in this movie. So he's president now of Crumb, whatever, Incorporated, let's call it.
Yeah.
And he gets a call, and there's been a murder at the what's it?
It's called Bottoms Up.
The sweaty
Bottoms
butthole
Up
club? Okay, yes.
Good at close enough. Bottoms Up Club in San Francisco.
Yes.
Yep.
Yeah, because I like it always like San Francisco. Oh, Bottoms Up Club. No, I've never been there, but I've heard of the place.
Yeah.
So then he's dressed in drag. He's got a big feather boa on. Like,
yep.
it's
Blonde
really great. Oh, he
wig,
also
yeah.
has his sassy Southern secretary back with him by the end of
Yeah,
this
he's
movie.
like a Dolly Parton in drag.
Yeah, pretty much.
Yeah.
And then he's like, well, this is going to be a hell of a case, or whatever he says. And they're really setting up for a sequel that never happened.
That never happened, but we would have enjoyed it, I think.
I think I would have enjoyed it. Yeah. Like I said, this wasn't really for me. Like it's one of those movies that was way more fun to talk about than to sit alone and watch it in the middle of the day.
Okay. Understood.
But you loved it, and
I did.
I'm
I
sure a lot
did.
of that has to do with the fact that you loved it as a kid. You know,
I giggled a lot. Yeah, it was reminiscent from when I was a kid. I liked it. Did you have a recommendation or
Well,
just stick away?
we don't
Did you
do
have a better-
recommendations during the bonus episodes,
Oh,
so
okay.
I
Yeah,
didn't
you're
come up
right.
with. Do you want to recommend something though? You can.
I did, well, it just reminded me
Go
of
ahead.
Tommy
Delirious. Oh wait, what?
Boy. Tommy
Oh.
Boy.
I got shades of Tommy Boy when he was in his office alone
Yes,
messing around
yes,
with things.
Yes. Shades of it, you could say.
Shades of
Yes.
Tommy Boy.
Mhm.
There wasn't David Spade to add a little bit
No,
of,
but you had
know,
Nikki,
to ground
which was
you.
kind of his
You're
David
right.
Spade.
You know what? Shawnee Smith is to John Candy as David Spade is to Chris Farley. You're right.
You see?
Really?
Okay.
Yeah. I wish that was a question on the SATs. I would have gotten that right.
Well, so who is Harry Crumb? It's a titular movie, so that's why else I like it.
I like to think that it was a scorecard and you're like, oh, they said the name of the movie. I'll check that box. Already 1 for 1. Yeah. Well, thank you so much, patrons. Thank you for continuing to give us money for this crazy content.
We so appreciate this.
Yeah, no, this is
It's
really
fun.
wonderful.
Yeah.
If everything just, goes tits up because of coronavirus and you can't afford to pay us anymore, I get it. But if you can continue supporting us, we will continue to do this fine work for you people.
We sure will.
And I mean, I do have to say though, I'm a little relieved to get back into our every other month schedule. I do feel like
we've been busy.
I do feel like since like November, since we did, that Gary Coleman, like I feel like we've just been doing so many of these bonus episodes. And not that I don't love it, but it'll be nice to be like, oh, good, we can
Back at a
wait
normal
now
pace. Yeah.
until June. So the next one will be June. It'll be in June, and that's when we do action movies.
Action.
And I will let our supporters know what we're going to be doing in the summer so that if you have any suggestions or recommendations, you can throw them our way. But we are going to do a summer of sequels. So if you have any sequels that you would love to hear us talk about, just let us know through social media, wherever. You guys know where to find us. Right. There are so many horror movies we could choose from, but I don't want to do that. Like I don't.
Well, because then we do that in October.
Yeah,
and
we have a whole October. And here's what I'm thinking, Jamie. I'm thinking of extending this sequels through September just so we can do horror sequels in October.
Oh, why not? Hey, we're the ones in charge of it, right?
That just means the only challenge for me is to find the singingest, most dancinest sequel out there for my birthday, and that might be a challenge.
Oh no, I think you're gonna find
Because
it
my
just
plan
fine.
was again to go back to that tried and true well of just musical nonsense, and I don't
It's
know if
what
there's
you
a good
love.
sequel out there.
I think you'll find one. I
All
think
right,
you'll
we
uncover
already
something
did Grease
magical.
2. We already did
did.
Breaking 2.
There's something
Oh,
out there.
anyway, folks, thank you so much for listening. Thank you for continuing to support us. And
Many
we
thanks,
will
many
talk
thanks.
to you again with a regular episode. You're listening to this on April 1st.
Happy April Fools.
Yeah, we're recording so far in advance. I don't know what episode is next. So
It'll be a good one. Though.
enjoy
It'll
it.
be
Yeah,
fun.
regardless. Have fun. Thank you again. And we will talk to you very soon with a regular episode.
Coming at you.
All right. Bye, everybody.
Goodbye.
I'm sorry. What did you say your name was?
I am the Jules Dilioche.
Oh, could you spell that, please?
I don't think so. Try it with a D.
You say you're from New York.
No. I work in New York. I am from Budapest.
Oh, Hungary.
No, thank you. I had a falafel before I got here.
No, I'm sorry. That's not what I meant.
Mr.
DeGilius.
I'm Dennis Kimball.
Dennis Kimball.
Yes. I just heard this morning you were coming.
Yes, well, I'm here.
This is our vice president in charge of operations.
Quality control.
Yes, something that's very important to us here.
So you say. Move it, Kimball. Come on. Move, Dennis. So, what have we here? Too tight. Loose. Too foofy.
You don't like what you see?
Only I am the judge of that.
Of course.
Of course.
The full-body mud pack is one of our most popular treatments. It tightens the pores and rejuvenates the dermis.
Indulge me. I will be you. You will be the intruder. Show to me exactly how it happened. Please.
Well, he must have been standing here, just in back of me.
And you were applying the mud like so.
He didn't make a sound.
And you were leaning over like this.
Yes, that's correct. And suddenly, he leapt out at me. Aha!
So, it was not as easy as you said.
But you knew what I was doing, and you... That's funny. You look different somehow.
Maybe your eyes are playing tricks on me. Playing tricks on me. So, you always give Miss Downing her mud pack?
Oh, no, it was her first time.
Oh, really? Really, huh? Like she doesn't have a regular weekly appointment. Is that what you're saying?
No, that was her mother, Elaine. It was Mrs. Downing's regular time.
Of course. She had given to her daughter her regular appointment.
I guess she did.
So one could say that Mrs. Downing knew precisely where her daughter would be that day.
Oui.